Coming up on today's episode, good day YouTube viewers, welcome back to the DERB workshop again. We are here today to do a video on the BK970 Radio Analyst, and it's sitting over here on the bench, and we are going to basically add a circuit breaker in place of the fuse for the DC output power supply, and that output goes from I think 1.5 or 2 volts up to 15 volts, and is used for powering devices on the bench while you're working on them. And in the past I have used it, but I have blown the fuse from, you know how shaky connections are on the bench. You use clip leads, things like that. Things tend to short out once in a while, and that's what happened. And I decided to go ahead and replace that with a circuit breaker, and I have done so of the same amperage, which is 5 amp. And that's what we're going to be doing today. So stay tuned, we'll get right into it. Alright, for our first look inside the unit, we're going to take and see exactly what kind of space we have to work with down here. There's the size of the circuit breaker itself, and you can see it will fit in here like that, I do believe. The only problem, or not problem, but the only uncertainty is this. And I'm not really even sure what that is, but it may be something that we can kind of either move or something like that, and we can see when we get to it. But you can see the way the faceplate is. It's actually quite a ways down to that, which we want to keep it inside the chassis if at all possible. I think that would be the best course of action. Let me see if I can move some of these wires out of the way and get us a better picture. There you go. Now that's a little bit better look, I think. I need a better light that I could put in here. Still see a bunch of wires. I think they're all something to do with this transistor checker leads here. Well, they're down here though, so I guess they're the switches up above that. That's what it is, the switches. So we're going to have to get down to get these wires out of the way as well. And there is room in there, I do believe, to get that in there. And I think it would either set one way or the other. Just a matter of getting the hole drilled in the correct spot and mounting it. And like I said, it's got its nut there to mount it with. So that's not a problem there. I wish I could get this down a little bit lower, but I think that's about as low as I can get it. There you go. You can see it's lit up pretty good in there now, I think. I'm down about as low as I can get. And like I said, there is room to do that in there. Keep wanting to hold this down, but it's not doing it exactly like I wanted. If I had those ends off that, I think there's enough room in there, pretty darn sure, to fit that in between this and the bottom of the chassis. Top of the chassis, whatever you want to call that piece there. And the wires themselves can get out of the way enough, I do believe. The biggest problem I foresee right now is getting a hole drilled for that, and especially in the right spot. So that's what we'll be working on next, I do believe. And so I think it's going to work. It's just a matter of fitting it in. So I didn't expect this to be perfectly easy, but it is what it is. So let me go take you up here and show you the fuse. One here and one here. And like I say, one of them's a 5 amp for the DC output, and the other just is for the unit itself. So it's a smaller fuse. It's not nowhere near 5 amps, I know that. So, alright, there you go. There's a look at the objective, or whatever you want to call that. And so that should give us some direction, I do believe. And we should be able to finger this out from here, I do believe. I hope, anyway. Zoom in on that again. There you go. And so Thinking very seriously about taking this out if it comes out fairly easy, which probably doesn't, but we'll take a look at it a little closer and see. And if it does, then take that out, and then that would give me a little bit more room there. And I probably could measure from the bottom to where I want to drill it at and get close enough that way as well. So we'll see. But there you go. There's a look at what our objective is for this video. And hopefully we can get that job done and get her going. Alright, well there you go. There's a quick look at basically the finished product. It's in there. It is not wired up obviously yet. I'm just going to use the clips on these spade connectors, whatever you want to call them. But it is in there good and solid. And got it in there without too much damage to the cabinet. And I think it's tight. I may try to tighten it a couple more rounds and see if I can get it any more. But I'll flip it over here and you can see the other side of it and see where it goes in and how it sits. I've got it in there straight. At first I was a little bit too far this way towards the edge, and I took the step bit and held up tight on it that way and reamed it out a little bit on top, and that seemed to work pretty good. So I'm happy with that. That should work out rather well, I do believe. All my switches are still working. Not really sure what all that does, but that's all for the transistor checker, it looks like. But again, these, not sure about these. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, you know, if I do anything with them. So let me turn this over real quick and we'll see the bottom of it. Alright, we are back on the 970 project here again. What I've got going here is a couple of different things. I'm trying to figure out the wiring now is because of the fuse here. I'm not going to be using this fuse at all. Once I get the circuit breaker in, this fuse becomes unnecessary basically. And what I'm trying to figure out is the best way to wire this up. I think because this wire here comes from I believe this here, yeah, that's it right up here, and it comes from way back here. And like I say, I think the best course of action for me is to take and cut that here somewhere and put it right here, remove this wire completely, and then wire my circuit breaker into that, because that's basically where it wires up here. And I think that just, you know, run my wire around here, whatever, and get that out of the way. The other part of it is here on this 50 watt 2 ohm resistor, and I will reference some of this on the schematic, as you'll probably see up on the screen. I don't know right now what I'm putting up there, but I will put something up there to show you what I'm talking about as far as what's here and stuff like that. Got a small wire here. I don't really know where that goes, other than the fact that it goes to this connection here. So basically, cut this off, cut this out, remove the fuse, and rewire this over here with this coming down to here, and I think that's the best course of action. These wires are rather stiff also. They're meant to carry a lot of current. So, you know, it's going to take some doing just to work with them a little bit to get the wires attached here and stuff like that. So, like I said, I want to get the wiring done. Once I get the wiring done, the only thing really left to do is put the case back together and try it out and see what happens. I guess I don't even have to put the case together to try it out, but I mean, I want to put some voltage to it and some, you know, some sources or loads on them and see what it does, and we'll go from there when we cross that bridge, so stay tuned. Alright, we are back once more. Do have it all wired in now. You can see the spade terminals here down the bottom going to the circuit breaker itself, and both of these wires go up to the same place that the old fuse connected to. I do have the old fuse out of the circuit completely now, out of the chassis. And that one goes to the, as you can reference on the schematic, from the choke. This comes from the choke on the schematic, and it goes to obviously the 20 mega or 20 microfarad 20,000 microfarad cap here for the filter, and there's the other side of it, the negative side. Really nothing to do with that. Like I say, it goes down through here, comes around through here, and feeds down into the circuit breaker. The other wire comes from the 50 watt 2 ohm resistor, as again referenced from the circuit diagram, and that goes from there to down through here and to the circuit breaker. So basically, just wired in the circuit breaker to replace the fuse, obviously, and you can see that I will, like I say, circle those on the schematic so you can see better what I'm talking about. But anyway, that's really all there is to it. Nothing else going on here. If you look at that, like I say, it has this in the schematic, the capacitor coming from the wire coming from the choke and then going directly to the circuit breaker, and that's the way that's wired up. So I don't really see any problem with how I've got it done there, and I've used 14 gauge wire, and that should be plenty enough for 5 amps, I would think. So like I said, that should do me. And like I say, we're going to go ahead and put it back together and do a little testing here on the bench. Nothing drastic. I just want to make sure it powers up some radios and things that use the voltages from that. And if we happen to make contact, short amount or something like that, that should be a good test of the circuit breaker. So I'm not going to do that on purpose, but if it does happen, it happens. But so there you go. That's a look at that. Let me get this back together and we'll go from there. Okay, we are back again, and I do have the 970 powered up. As you can see, it's sitting on its side, but that should be fine. Let me turn some light on here. I turned that light out for something, and I forgot now what I turned it out for, but there it is. There, actually, that should be better. As you can see, well, let's set this up to 9 volts. That dial scale is at 9 volts right there. I think you can see that, I hope. Let me put you down just a little bit more. And yeah, 9 volts is what that's set to. And here's our DC out here, and you can see on the other camera there is pointed at the meter, and here are the meter leads. So let's see at 9 volts what we get when we touch that. 9.81. Not bad, not bad. It's you have to kind of realize it's not really a true regulated power supply in this, and it as such, the load will cause the voltage to go down just a little bit. So that was good. Let's go for our maximum voltage output on this is 15 volts. Let's see what it registers. And 15.86. Not bad, not bad. Again, same thing. Let's go down to 6 now and see what that is. 6.73. So again, not bad at all. I'm going to say that's a win for that one. Everything seems to be working. Of course, the circuit breaker is down here. I probably can't even see it down there, can you? There it is. I guess I could have lowered that a little bit more. But here it is right here, and so that's good. It's hooked up into the circuit as you saw in the previous clip. And so again, like I say, next thing I'm going to do is basically take this and put the case back on, screw that together, and get this set back up on the bench, and then we'll do maybe a power radio just to see if it's going to work right. So hang in there, and we'll be back just very shortly. Alright, we are back once again, and the BK970 Radio Analyst is on the bench, all back together. Got the top on, the cabinet cover, whatever you want to call this thing. The chassis actually slides in this way. And it is on, and I've got a radio on the bench here, a small Ross AM FM radio, powered up using the basically the power of this. You can see, now let me show you, you can't see. 9 volt DC is what we're putting out, Here's our radio. Let's take a listen to it.
Through the roof and just kind of pushed us outside of where we were comfortable building.
That's obviously
in regards to what the monthly.
Well, maybe not obviously to you, but it's obvious to me. That's the local station on AM.
We kind of stepped back and feel like the best.
I'm going to try some FM here, see if that works. Not that that would really have anything to do with the power if it didn't work, so not really sure what the point is on that. But anyway, hey, might as well do some testing while I'm doing some testing, right? Right. There you go. This thing really needs a new dial.
SearchAirForce.com. What's your take on that? We made 123,000 last year.
So there's a local station on FM.
I figured I kind of served you a beach ball on this. The sound of his laughter and they knew the rain had come to stay.
I think that's the hum. Let's see if I can't measure the voltage on this. See what the voltage is on it after there's a load on it. .4. Not bad. That's about right, I would think. So you go. There you go. Very happy with that. And again, if something did happen and it shorted out, all I have to do is press that old reset button and we're back in business just that quick. So another thing I'm going to do once I get rolling with this, now this is probably a long ways off from being installed where it's going to be, which is the other end of the bench opposite of the HP signal generator. So once it's there, I'm planning on making up some leads which will allow me to basically connect to radios like this. It'll be a clip obviously in the opposite direction. So that's what I'm planning on doing, and you know, I may even make up some other leads to keep the possibility down on shorting this out. I mean, even though I do have a circuit breaker in, I don't want to short it out too much. You know, it just makes sense. I don't even think I showed you that, did I? Yeah, I want to make up clips, battery clips like that, and that's what I want to do, so I don't have to use clip leads for it. Not that clip leads don't work, but they do have more potential for shorting out than just a clip would have, obviously. So I may use an old battery top. That's been suggested, and it may do that. But I wanted to show you that it is being powered from that in case you doubted it. Turned it off. So there you go. It is being powered by the 970. So that's good. Happy with that. Took me a minute to find a radio to use. I've got 1,000 radios around here and I can't find one I can just use for a quick test. This one was on the display in the kitchen. Callie had set up that a long time ago. Put some radios up there and I just happened to see it and I thought, well, maybe that one will work. The rest of them had the 2 AA's in them, and I didn't really want to go that route because I'd have to figure out what was the powers and what was the commons and things like that, and it's just too much to do at that time. So, alright, I think that's going to do us. Let me turn this off. Bruce is just singing away there, the boss is. Turn that off. This is going to do me. Obviously, this is done. I'm going to get you a little close-up of this. If I can. That's about as close as I can get, I think, to it. Swing it around just a little bit that way. There you go. But yeah, there you go. That's it. Like I say, I put a little scratch in it above the nut there, but I don't think it really shows that much, and I can put some blue marker or something on it and probably rub it in there and it won't even show. But this case, or this 970 is in pretty good shape, really, case-wise and stuff like that. I've been thinking about, seriously, about taking that coil that doesn't work out and rebuilding it. Now I know that's a monumental type task, but you know, at the same time, I think I might even get away without rebuilding it and just get a new slug for it, ferrite core slug. And if I can do that, that would be, you know, all I really need, and clean it out, make sure, you know, if nothing else, I could drill it out and get it out that way. So thinking about that, I will think about it more in the future, but, you know, always thinking about something I can do. So, all right, that's going to do me on this one, and I think we're going to have a little preview of what's coming up next on the bench, up next. So let's take a look at that. Now this I'm not really sure about, but I think can't be sure. I was thinking it was up here, but that's the thing up there. I don't know if that's just something else that's got thrown in there or what, but it really doesn't look like anything. You know what that kind of looks like is something off of a cassette tape itself. You know, the thing that goes in there and holds your tension on your tape, maybe. I don't know. All right, now you've seen the preview, and you know, well, you know a little bit about what's coming up next on the bench. So we're going to say goodbye with that. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so very much for watching, and we will see ya.